Namaskar, good evening. You are watching Rajya Sabha television. I'm Smriti Rastogi with News Tonight. In the next half an hour, we'll take you through all the latest news and updates of the day. But before that, a quick look at the top headlines. Union Cabinet approves hike ranging from 2 to 24% in minimum support price of Rabi crops. Decision to net farmers additional income of over 62,000 crore rupees fulfills government's promise to provide farmers 50% profit. Metro projects for Bhopal and Indore also cleared. Champions of the Earth Award presented to Prime Minister Narendra Modi for his extensive efforts to beat plastic pollution. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres says award recognizes a leader who realizes benefits of climate action. Blow to unity efforts of the opposition in Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh. Bahujan Samaj Party to contest assembly polls alone in the two states. Party chief Mayawati says despite reverses, Congress hasn't learned lessons. Soon after taking oath, Chief Justice Ranjan Gogoi releases new roster. Second senior-most judge in Supreme Court, Justice Lokur, can also hear PILs now. CJI to continue hearing PILs, seeking social justice, petitions on appointments to constitutional posts. And Air Force Chief B.S. Dhanoa endorses Rafale deal, calls the fighter aircraft a game changer. Says not only has India got a good package, but also a lot of advantages in the French aircraft. The Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs, headed by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, approved higher minimum support price for Rabi crops today. It includes a 6% hike in support price of wheat at 1,840 rupees per quintal for 2018 and 19 season. Increase in MSP of barley by 30 rupees per quintal to 1,440 rupees per quintal. The hike by 220 rupees per quintal for chana, whose price is now 4,620 rupees per quintal. Support price of mustard hiked by rupees 200 to 4,200 rupees per quintal. The decision will help farmers earn an additional income of 62,635 crore rupees and is in line with the government's announcement to provide farmers a 50% profit over the cost of production. In another decision, the Cabinet also approved metro rail projects for Bhopal and Indore to be completed in 4 years at the estimated cost of 6,941.40 crore rupees.
By increasing the MSP today, the farmers of India will have an additional income to the tune of 62,635 crores. Wheat का cost of production है 8 rupees 866 per quintal, 866 per quintal, और हमने MSP दिया है rupees 1840 per quintal, which gives a return of 112.5% over cost of production.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi received the Champions of the Earth Award on Wednesday, the highest UN honor in environment protection. Prime Minister Modi said in his address that a clean and green environment is at the root of his government's policies.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi honored with the United Nations' highest environmental award, Champions of the Earth. The award was presented to him at a ceremony in New Delhi by United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres for his pioneering work in championing the International Solar Alliance and promoting new areas of cooperation on environmental action. In his address, the Prime Minister said the award is a recognition of the commitment of the people of India towards protecting the environment, asserting that respecting nature has always been a part of Indian society.
चैंपियंस ऑफ द अर्थ अवार्ड भारत की उस नित्य नूतन चीज पुरातन परंपरा का सम्मान है जिसने प्रकृति में परमात्मा को देखा है, जिसने सृष्टि के मूल में पंच तत्व पृथ्वी, आकाश, अग्नि, जल, वायु उसके अधिष्ठान का आह्वान किया है।
Prime Minister Modi said climate and calamity are linked to culture. He added that it will be difficult to avoid calamity as long as concerns for the climate do not become a part of culture. Referring to Swachhta Abhiyan, Prime Minister Modi said his government has succeeded in changing people's behavior towards environment.
सूखे और बाढ़ की गंभीरता साल दर साल बढ़ रही है और इसमें सबसे ज्यादा परेशान वही हो रहा है जिसके पास सीमित संसाधन है, जो गरीब है। लिहाजा इस बहुत बड़ी आबादी को पर्यावरण पर, प्रकृति पर अतिरिक्त दबाव डाले बिना विकास के अवसरों से जोड़ने के लिए सहारे की आवश्यकता है, हाथ थामने की जरूरत है।
United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres said the award recognizes a statesman who embodies true leadership.
We recognize a statesman who embodies the true meaning of leadership. Prime Minister Modi recognizes that climate change poses a direct existential threat to us all. Prime Minister Modi knows that we need to do what we need to do to avert catastrophe. And Prime Minister Modi understands the enormous benefits of climate action. Many other leaders also recognize, also know, and also understand. The difference is that Prime Minister Modi not only recognizes, knows, and understands, but that he acts with enormous energy to make things change.
Prime Minister Modi shares the award with French President Emmanuel Macron in the leadership category for his leadership of the International Solar Alliance and pledged to eliminate single-use plastic in India by the year 2022. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
On to some more news. Justice Ranjan Gogoi was today sworn in as the 46th Chief Justice of India. President Ram Nath Kovind administered the oath to the 63-year-old Justice Gogoi, who will have a tenure of a little over 13 months and would retire on 17th of November next year. Justice Gogoi began his legal career in 1978 as an advocate in the Guwahati High Court and was appointed a judge in 2001. He was elevated to the Supreme Court in 2012 from the Punjab and Haryana High Court, where he was Chief Justice for almost a year. Soon after taking oath, Justice Gogoi issued a new roster allocating cases to various benches and decided that the public interest litigation matters will be heard by him and a bench headed by Justice Madan B. Lokur, who is next in seniority to him.
I, Ranjan Gogoi,
having been appointed Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of India,
having been appointed Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of India,
do swear in the name of God
do swear in the name of God
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India as by law established,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India as by law established,
that I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of India,
that I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of India.
Air Chief Marshal B.S. Dhanua has termed the Rafale deal a good package, saying the aircraft will be a game changer for the country. He said the decision to buy Rafale fighter jets was a bold move by the government. He also said the S-400 air defense missile systems and 36 Rafale jets will provide the Air Force with a much-needed booster. India is likely to sign the deal for S-400 air defense system during Russian President Vladimir Putin's visit to India beginning Thursday. He also said it was the prerogative of the Rafale maker, Dassault Aviation, to choose the offset partner, and the government or the Air Force had no role in it.
We had choices. One was continue indefinitely to resolve the difference between Dassault Aviation and HAL, cancel RFP and restart the process. Since the impasse was on TOT, so large numbers with TOT could only be procured after resolving this issue. TOT under strategic partnership model was also under discussion. Rafale was already evaluated, cost discovered, full clarity was available, and we had reached an advanced stage for procurement of the aircraft.
Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has said clean and cost-effective energy is the need of the hour. Addressing the international conference on recent developments in clean and safe nuclear power generation in Hyderabad on Wednesday, he said that nuclear power is a cost-effective and commercially viable energy resource. He said that a developing country like India should make good use of such an important energy source that is clean and cost-effective. The Vice President said that the country is witnessing an increasing demand for energy and the consumption is only bound to go up further by 4.2% per annum. Keeping the consumption in mind, he said that increasing the share of nuclear energy in the overall energy mix of the country is essential to ensure sustainable development.
India is witnessing an increasing demand for energy, and the consumption is only bound to go up further in the coming decades. It is estimated that India's energy consumption will grow by 4.2 per annum, the fastest among all major economies by 2040, with the fossil fuels meeting 82% of the demand, followed by renewable energy as the second largest source of energy. The enhanced energy consumption is likely to push country's share of global energy demand to 11% by 2040 as against 5% in 2016. Rapid urbanization and industrialization are among the factors that would push energy demand and consumption. There is now growing consensus that nuclear power is an important energy source because it's clean and cost effective also. Cost effective also is very important in the Indian context. As part of the civil nuclear initiative to allow the resumption of full civil nuclear cooperation between India and the international community, several agreements and reciprocal commitments were concluded, and we look forward to their full and effective implementation in the coming months and years. Nuclear power is a cost-effective and commercially viable energy resource. One of the cheapest sources of energy being produced in India today is by nuclear power plant, TAPS 1 and 2, 92 paise per unit. Electricity generated by the latest Kudankulam Nuclear Power Unit 1 sells for a little over Rs 3 per unit, which is very, very competitive.
BJP President Amit Shah on Wednesday appointed election in charge for poll-bound states of Telangana, Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh. Senior BJP leader and Union Health Minister JP Nadda has been made the election in charge of Telangana. Union HRD Minister Prakash Javadekar has been given the charge for Rajasthan, and Union Petroleum Minister Dharmendra Pradhan has been named in charge for Madhya Pradesh. All three states go to polls later this year. In a major setback to opposition unity ahead of the Lok Sabha elections next year, BSP chief Mayawati ruled out any alliance with the Congress and announced that her party will contest assembly elections in Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh either on its own or with regional parties. Mayawati criticized the Congress, accusing it of trying to crush the BSP. She also questioned the intentions of the Congress on defeating the BJP. Citing the results of Gujarat elections, Mayawati said that the Congress does not seem to have learnt its lessons. She also said that Congress party has become arrogant and thinks it can defeat the BJP alone. The BSP also ditched Congress in Chhattisgarh. Last month, Mayawati had announced her party will contest with Ajit Jogi's party for the Chhattisgarh assembly polls.
कुछ ऐसे निजी स्वार्थी नेता हैं जो केंद्र में बीजेपी की सरकार की सीबीआई व ईडी आदि की जांच एजेंसियों के डर से घबराकर वे कुछ राज्यों में होने वाले आम चुनाव में व इसके बाद देश में होने वाले लोकसभा आम चुनाव में भी किसी भी कीमत पर कांग्रेस व बीएसपी का चुनावी समझौता नहीं होने देना चाहते हैं।
Reacting to Mayawati's announcement, Congress leader Randeep Surjewala said, at times, sweet and bitter things are said out of emotions. He added that if Mayawati holds trust in Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi, then other creases can be ironed out, indicating that the window for a tie-up in 2019 is still open.
कांग्रेस के किसी नेता के बारे में की गई प्रतिकूल टिप्पणी से हम असहमत हैं, परंतु कई बार भावार्थ, आवेश में, भावनाओं में बहुत सारी बातें कही जाती हैं, कड़वी और मीठी। अगर सुश्री मायावती जी का संपूर्ण विश्वास राहुल गांधी जी में है, अगर सुश्री मायावती जी का संपूर्ण विश्वास हमारी मार्गदर्शक श्रीमती सोनिया गांधी में है, तो बाकी की क्रीजेस हम आयरन आउट कर लेंगे।
On to some more developments. The Gujarat government said on Wednesday that a deadly combination of canine distemper virus and protozoal infection is responsible for the death of at least 11 of the 23 lions in Gujarat's Gir forest since September 12th. The condition of 3 of the over 36 lions currently under observation is reported to be critical. Forest officials imported 300 shots of vaccines from the US as a precautionary measure to protect the lions. State Forest and Environment Minister Ganpat Vaspa told media persons on Wednesday that canine distemper virus was found in samples of 4 of the 11 dead lions by Pune-based National Institute of Virology and Protozoa in the rest 7. CDV is a contagious viral disease that affects a wide variety of animal species, including dogs, coyotes, foxes, pandas, and wolves. It attacks the respiratory, gastrointestinal, and nervous systems of animals. It is the same virus that has wiped out 30% of the total population of lions in East Africa in 1990s. Amid growing concerns over the spurt in lion deaths, the Supreme Court asked the centre on Wednesday to look into the mysterious deaths of 23 lions in Gir Sanctuary in the past 3 weeks. Terming it a very serious matter, the Apex Court also sought an explanation from the Gujarat government on the matter. And with that, time for a very short break. More news and updates on the other side. Stay with us.
Tales that inspire. Stories of social change. A salute to diversity. Promoting public discourse. Events that motivate. Inspiring the innovative spirit. Watch Rajya Sabha television documentaries.
Welcome back. Now, international news. British Prime Minister Theresa May on Tuesday unveiled a major post-Brexit overhaul of the UK's immigration system. She said it is aimed at a level playing field for nationals from all countries by ending freedom of movement once and for all for EU citizens. May said it will be a skills-based system where only workers' skills will matter and not where they come from, adding that it looks across the globe and attracts people with the skills that Britain needs. According to a key manifesto pledge of the ruling Conservative Party, the UK government said the new so-called skills-based system will make sure low-skilled immigration is brought down and set the UK on the path to reduce immigration to sustainable levels. Indians could also benefit from the new rules that will focus on highly skilled migration as opposed to low-skilled workers. But the added obligation on companies to sponsor families of such high-skilled professionals could prove a hurdle in the long term. The new regime is expected to be in place by 2021, once the transition period for Britain's exit from the EU is complete.
This is our proposal, taking back control of our borders, laws and money. Good for jobs, good for the Union, it delivers on the referendum, it keeps faith with the British people. It is in the national interest.
And addressing the annual conference of the Conservative Party in Birmingham, British Prime Minister Theresa May urged her party to stick together over her Brexit strategy. UK is due to enter the toughest phase of negotiations with Brussels, she said, adding that the party sticks together and holds its nerve, it can get a deal that delivers for Britain. Stating that no party has a monopoly on good ideas, May said there has been a range of different views on Brexit, while promised not to let the UK down. She also asserted that Britain is not afraid to leave EU with no deal. She also warned delegates that pursuing our own vision of the perfect Brexit could lead to no Brexit at all. And for more on this, we'll go across to Mr. KP Nair, strategic analyst. Sir, thank you so much for coming to our studio. Sir, what should we understand from British Prime Minister Theresa May's speech? What are the chances that Britain could walk away from the Brexit deal?
It is not as simple as Theresa May makes it out to be in her speech, because Brexit negotiations are perhaps the most complicated negotiations in the history of mankind. Breakaways from unions have taken place, but never through negotiations. The Ottoman Empire, the Austro-Hungarian Empire, they all dissolved, but not through negotiations. Even the breakup of the Soviet Empire, when Eastern Europe broke away from the Soviet Union in a similar fashion, it was really not through negotiations, you see. So it's easy to make speeches, but when it comes to practicalities, it's going to be very complicated, because you're dealing with a situation in Europe where there's so much of integration. We've had movement of people settling down in each other's country within the European Union. So it's far, far more complicated than she makes it out to be. And the transition, she's talking of the transition period up to 2021. But what if the deadline for Brexit itself collapses? Then there'll be no transition, you see. So I think she's trying to be simplistic. She's trying to sort of put courage into her cabinet, because she has her back to the wall. She doesn't even have the whole country behind her. Theresa May has England with her, but Scotland is not with her, Ireland is not with her. And if the Irish party withdraws support to her on the issue of the hard border for Ireland, she collapses, and then somebody else becomes Prime Minister. So she is actually walking on very thin ice.
So how important is fixing the Irish border issue at this moment for Theresa May?
Well, she has taken a big risk, I think, in giving into Brussels to a very large extent on the issue of hard border with Ireland. Even if it is a question of checking imports into Northern Ireland at British ports, as Brussels has proposed, the Northern Irish people are not going to agree to it. I mean, they didn't want to leave EU in the first place. They voted for remaining in the EU. And they have their traditional loyalties to the Republic of Ireland next door. So she is risking the collapse of the Good Friday Agreement, which ended long periods of violence in Ireland. So you try to settle something in the short run, and it may well reopen the Irish question from the roots. And what if the Irish Republican Army resurrects itself, Northern Ireland goes back to the horrible days of violence, all that Tony Blair achieved with painstaking efforts through the Good Friday Agreement and brought peace to Northern Ireland, well, may unravel. So, as I said, Theresa May is taking risks all round, and it requires support from her party, from the opposition, from other parts of the country like Scotland and Ireland, none of which she has at the moment. So she is running the risk of grave problems within England, if within UK, if the negotiations with Brussels don't go well.
What are the big concerns on that front for Britain?
Well, there are layers and layers of negotiations to be done, you know. I mean, for example, does Britain remain in the customs union? Does Northern Ireland, which wants to remain in the customs union, remain in that? Perhaps the only precedent of anybody leaving the European Union, not a country, part of a country leaving the European Union was in Greenland, because after Greenland and Denmark negotiated autonomy for Greenland, the people of Greenland did not want to remain in the European Union. So they decided to leave, and Denmark agreed to Greenland, which is part of Denmark, overseas territory of Denmark, leaving the European Union. But they left in principle, but they remained in the customs union, they remained in the economic area, so they left and they did not leave. I think eventually this is what the UK will also have to do. Because, you know, I mean, what do you do, for example, in the case of immigration? She says that for the first time, Theresa May says that for the first time, we will decide who comes into the country.
Absolutely.
But you know, all previous efforts to control immigration have failed. Look at Trump. Trump boasted about the wall in Mexico and so many other things. What has happened to the wall? 2 years into his presidency, there is no wall. I mean, look at the state of Europe with all these refugees coming in, migrants landing in boats on the Italian coast, people coming to Germany from the Middle East, Syria and Iraq and Afghanistan. Immigration is a very, very, very difficult issue. I mean, it's very easy to say we will control immigration, but immigration is not easily controlled, partly for historical reasons, partly for political reasons, and partly for economic reasons. So I would be very skeptical about the new immigration policy that Theresa May has outlined, which is why there are no details.
Absolutely,
I mean, there are just a few paragraphs and in a speech, and then there is nothing else. When details are flushed out, it is not going to be as easy as she has made it out to be.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nair, for joining us and helping us understand this very important development from UK, where British Prime Minister Theresa May has unveiled a major post-Brexit overhaul of the UK's immigration system. Moving on to some other developments, 2 Americans and a Briton have won the 2018 Nobel Prize for Chemistry. US scientists Francis Arnold and George Smith and British researcher Gregory Winter shared the prize for harnessing the power of evolution to develop new proteins used in drugs and medical treatments. Arnold, who is the 5th woman to win chemistry's most prestigious honor, conducted the first directed evolution of enzymes, whose uses include more environmentally friendly manufacturing of chemical substances such as pharmaceuticals and the production of renewable fuels. Smith was awarded for developing a method to evolve new proteins, and Winter used the method to evolve antibodies. Arnold won one half of the prize money, while Smith and Winter shared the other half. And that's all we have for you in this edition of News Tonight. For more news and updates, keep watching Rajya Sabha television. Namaskar.